Let's talk about two things that describe the state of the American economy better than any official report right now. First, pawn shops. Second, egg prices. These are the two data points the Trump administration is leaning on to tell Americans everything is going according to plan. And that gap between what's being said and what's actually happening on the ground tells you everything you need to know. Before we get into it, subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Start with the pawn shops. Across the country, pawn loan activity is surging. The average loan amount is between $200 and $300. People are bringing in watches, jewelry, electronics, tools, increasingly firearms. One man said he pawned his gun to pay a vet bill, not a luxury medical care for a pet, $200, and the interest rate on these loans runs up to 300% annually. 300%. That is not a loan. That is a debt trap for people who have run out of other options. That is Trump's economy and its unfiltered, unspun reality. Now the numbers. The Consumer Confidence Index dropped 6 points, its steepest decline since 1980. Consumer prices rose 3.3% over the past 12 months, and economists project that figure climbing to 4.8% over the next year. Real wages are flat, job creation has effectively stalled. The previous month's numbers had to be revised down to nearly zero. Over 6 months, the Trump economy has created essentially no net jobs. Compare that to the Biden years, when the country was adding roughly 400,000 jobs per month for 4 consecutive years. The difference between 20 million and 175,000 doesn't require advanced mathematics. Then there's gasoline. Since February 28th, when the war with Iran began, fuel prices have risen 21%. That is not an abstract statistic. It is a real tax paid at the pump by every American every time they fill their tank. A regressive tax, hitting hardest those who can least afford it. Fuel is the circulatory system of an economy. When someone is forced to spend 21% more on gas, they have 21% less for everything else. Fewer purchases, less consumption, less growth. That is how a recession builds. Not in theory, but in practice, one tank at a time. What does the administration say? The White House press secretary speaks of short-term disruptions from Operation Epic Fury and assures everyone the administration is diligently working to mitigate them. Economic advisor Kevin Hassett goes on television and delivers the headline, "Yes, prices are rising, but look, egg prices are down 44%. Beef dropped a little. Concert tickets fell 18%. The anchor's response was honest. A graphic showing price increases across virtually everything else was on screen the entire time, and it made the egg conversation particularly revealing. No, you have not won the war against inflation. That was a direct quote from the host, not from the opposition. The Strait of Hormuz remains closed. Yesterday, 6 vessels transited it. 6, against the normal flow of 130 to 140. Each one paid what amounts to a toll to Iran in hard currency. Insurance companies, including Lloyd's, are already revising coverage terms for freight moving through the strait. Shipping companies are routing around. This is not a problem that yields to chest beating or military rhetoric. It is a geopolitical and economic puzzle that requires actual diplomacy, and until it's solved, every day of shutdown converts directly into higher fuel prices. Analysts estimate the next wave could push a gallon of gas to $6. Add another 30 to 40% on top of the 21% already baked in. The picture that emerges is this: consumer confidence at its lowest since 1980, prices rising, wages flat, jobs absent, gas getting more expensive by the week, people walking into pawn shops with guns and watches to borrow $200 at 300% annual interest, and the official response to all of it is, eggs got cheaper. That is where the line between spin and reality runs. No press secretary and no economic advisor can paper over that gap with a story about productive hens. The $1776 checks promised to every American never arrived. What arrived instead was a hidden fuel tax, rising grocery prices, and predatory loan rates. This economy is being built every single day by the Commerce Secretary, the Treasury Secretary, the Trade Representative, the Office of Management and Budget every day. And every day, the average American pays for those decisions out of their own pocket, roughly $3,000 to $4,000 more per year than before this administration took office. The midterms are coming, and no restrictions on mail-in voting, no additional documentation requirements will stop people who have felt this in their own wallet. Subscribe now, activate the bell, stay sharp. See you in the next video.